I go to the park 4 to 5 times a week, and I feel like I might be a theme park expert. I don't know. We'll see if I'm an expert on rope dropping today, but this is my co-host, Mike.
Hello, everybody. As Janelle said, I am Mike. I am a travel planner that specializes in Disney, but I do other trips as well. So I bring the outside of the park experience to this conversation, and we kind of blend together and hopefully provide you with a lot of great information to make your trips successful.
Absolutely. I love that. That is a really good balance that we have there. So today we are going to be talking about continuing our crowd conversation, episode 4, and what number 3, number 2.
Yes, that's right. So this is part three of our crowd conversation. Just a quick recap. Part one, we talked about crowd calendars and how accurate they are and how you can utilize them to manage your trip. Part two was wrapped around Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes and how those can benefit you to maximize your park time. Today, we are going to talk about rope dropping. We're going to talk about extended evening hours, and we're going to talk about the Disney after hours. And all three of these, again, go towards that conversation around crowds and how you help manage and maximize your family's park time.
I love it. What is your favorite part of all of this? Would you pick rope drop or would you pick extended evening hours?
Yeah, so I think for sake of the audience, rope drop is the best topic because it applies to everybody, or it can apply to everybody.
It can, right?
Unless you like to sleep in the mornings,
Right.
then it doesn't. But rope dropping is available to anyone. We'll talk more in depth on the others, but the others are specific to resort type guests or
Okay.
a separate ticketed event that you're spending money for. So I
So,
think rope drop is where we should kick off.
okay. So for me, rope drop is my favorite part of the day. I think if you watch any of the streams or know any of the things that I do, I love rope dropping. I love getting up in the morning and being at the park early, getting those pictures done, and then being there in the park. Uh, I think we are going to start with Magic Kingdom as far as
Yes.
the first park that we would want to get there and get going and getting our first ride taken care of, right?
Yes.
So,
However,
um,
before we start with Magic Kingdom,
okay,
I often get asked what's rope drop, and
okay.
so
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
so us every day in the Parkers or those of us that go frequently, what is rope drop? It's like asking me, what's a pancake, right? We know exactly what it is, but the official definition of rope drop is the time where a theme park or part of a theme park opens for the day. So that
Okay.
is the official definition of what rope drop is.
So,
Now we can take
okay.
our gloves off and talk, what does that truly mean? And this is where it gets somewhat confusing because you could simply assume that that means that's the time that the turnstiles open and the first guest gets to walk in the door. And that's not actually true. And this is where this conversation will benefit you so that you know exactly when we should get to each of the four parks. And we'll go
Yeah.
through examples of park opens at this time. What does that mean for rope drop? And oh, by the way, the definition of rope drop and the time is different if you are a resort guest staying on property at Disney or if you're a non-resort guest, whether you're staying at the Holiday Inn down the street or you're a local like Janelle.
Okay. Well, so I think you start by you have your ticket. You're all set up in your app. You have the My Disney Experience app, and you go in there and you look to see what time does the park open today. That's where we should start, right?
Yeah.
And I think we'll go with the general time of park opening at 9 a.m. It's on everybody's app. It doesn't differ. It doesn't matter if you're a park resort guest or you're coming into the park. It's going to say 9 a.m. for everyone. So, me as a non-resort guest, I'm going to figure out how long it's going to take me to get there and decide when do I need to be in the park or when do I need to be at the turnstile? When do I, to badge in and get there? And when can I do that? So, and that's a little different for a resort guest as well. So, where do we want to start? Do you want to start with resort guests since they get in a little bit earlier?
Yeah, so we will start Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
As Janelle said, we're going to utilize an example of Magic Kingdom's official park opening is 9 a.m. So Magic Kingdom's a little bit different than the other parks in the sense that they allow all guests, whether you're a resort guest or a non-resort guest, into the Magic Kingdom at least 1 hour before that 9 a.m. opening up and down Main Street, from the entrance going underneath the train station all the way up to the castle. All guests are welcome in at least 1 hour before.
Oh,
So now we'll split to resort guests. We'll start there first. So if you're staying
okay.
at one of the approximately 25 resorts on Disney property, you are allowed to begin enjoying some of Magic Kingdom as early as 8:30 a.m. So your rope drop time as a resort guest is 8:30, whereas Janelle as a local, her rope drop is 9 a.m.
Right.
So we're going to start there. So let's talk solely resort guests first. Again, for a resort guest, the portion of Magic Kingdom opens at 8:30 a.m. for you to begin enjoying rides. So with that, again, this the conversation here is about how can I maximize my time with crowds at Disney. Okay, so if you're a resort guest staying at Pop Century or Art of Animation or All Stars or any of those, um, you can start enjoying Tomorrowland and or Fantasyland, which are basically the right half of Magic Kingdom when you're walking down Main Street
Right.
at 8:30 a.m. on Park Day at Magic Kingdom. For
Okay.
my recommendation, you should be walking into the Magic Kingdom down Main Street at least 1 hour prior to that. So at 7:30 a.m., you should plan on being at the turnstiles to get in. And I say that because, again, we're talking about maximizing your time and getting the most out of that extra 30 minutes. If you come strolling into the park right at 8:20, 8:25, you are thousands of people behind in line
Right.
waiting to get to those sections of the park. You will probably not even ride one ride in that 30 minutes because you're so far behind.
Right. So we're saying I'm at I'm at Pop Century. I had my breakfast. What time did the buses start running? Does that is that different for everybody, or is there a time that you think 30 minutes is what you should give yourself for most bus resort guests?
Yeah, you will. You could wait up to 20 minutes for the next bus,
Okay.
and then it's 20 to close to 30 minutes from resort to the front of Magic Kingdom. So it could take you upwards of close to an hour. And so again, the idea is arrive at 7:30. If you're hoping to have breakfast at your resort first, and I had this written down,
Okay.
most quick serve restaurants open at 7 a.m. So you may need to be waiting for the door to open at your
Right.
resort's restaurant. Get in, grab a quick bite, maybe even bring it with you, or plan snacks or something along those lines so that you can get onto that bus as soon as possible. Try to catch that first bus over to the Magic Kingdom.
Okay. So then I've gotten off the bus. I've gone through security. Again, another step that could take some of your time. And then now I'm waiting in the line because there's going to be a line there to get through the turnstile and wait for the magic words of them to say, Magic Kingdom is open and now we can come in. So it's 8 o'clock, and you can now go get your what? Your pictures and go get your Starbies, all the things, go into the Emporium. But if you're a resort guest, do you want to do all that stuff or do you want to go straight down Main Street, find the cast member that's holding the sign, and go get in that line?
Yes. So again, for today's conversation, it's about maximizing your time. So don't go into the shops down Main
Okay.
Street when you first get there. I mean, if you can't survive without that caffeine, then by all means, you better catch Starbucks, but there'll be a line there. So plan for that. You
Yes.
want to get your coffee at your resort before you leave. Okay. So, as Janelle said, though, as you walk down Main Street, and if you're familiar at all with Main Street, as you get to the end, you've got Casey's Corner on your left. You've got the ice cream shop on your right. You've got the castle straight in front of you. As you approach that circle that will get you close to the castle, on your right hand side, you will see cast members that have signs held up for
Yep.
resort guest entry. Resort guests, you will be able to rope drop at 8:30 a.m. either Tomorrowland, which is a 90-degree right, or Fantasyland, which is about 2 o'clock on the face of a clock.
Yep.
There will be two pathways that you will go through, one for Tomorrowland, one for Fantasyland. You will need a badge in if you got a magic band, or if you're using a plastic card, or you're using your phone or Apple Watch. That's their way to ensure that only resort guests are getting through that
Right.
point to get in line.
Right.
So, as a resort guest, I've done that. I've got my family with me. We've badged. We decide which way we're going to go, and I'll provide my recommendations here in a minute. But we then go and get into that queuing line, if you will, for the resort guest rope drop.
Okay.
And if you're not in that line at least 30 minutes before, so 8 a.m., you're going to find that you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of people waiting in front of you. And that will then change the recommendations on what you should try to rope drop
Right.
in 30
Right.
minutes, right?
Right.
It's important to note for resort guests, um, Liberty Square is not open. Adventureland is not open.
Yep.
Frontierland is not open at 8:30 a.m. for
It does
resort
not.
guests. That
Yes.
half of the park opens at 9 a.m. for every guest.
So I would say that is one of the things I wanted to mention when I'm there waiting. So many guests are walking over there. They don't know where they're going. They don't know to go to the right. So, for the sake of the podcast and everybody here, if there's one thing you can remember, go to the right. Go to the right as a resort guest. Look for the cast member. And if anything, just ask a cast member, where do I go so you're not wasting your time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
All right.
um,
So you, as a resort guest, you've made your way down Main Street. You found that spot where you need to badge in with the cast member. The first question then is, do you want to go to Tomorrowland or do you want to go to
mm,
Fantasy? Well, I know I'll give you my recommendation, what I think you should rope drop, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what's important to your family. If your family absolutely loves the Buzz Lightyear ride, for example, and that is a must
right,
do, and it's the only must do on your list, you're going to want to go to Tomorrowland and rope drop that. If, however, you're looking at what are the most popular rides that get the longest wait times in the two lands that I can rope drop, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Peter Pan, those are going to be your two winning rides that you will want to try to rope
right.
drop so that you avoid the long, long lines that you have throughout the day.
Okay. I agree, and I would even say there might be a little strategy that, if everybody goes to Mine Train, maybe head to Peter Pan and, figure it out, do maybe vice versa, but definitely talk to your party and see what's the most important thing for them to do, because it might not be either one of those, and you might want to go ride the teacups over and over and over. That might be fun for somebody.
And if you're one of those people, you are a truly unique individual because there won't be many people racing to teacups at rope drop.
I'm just saying that it's a
Yes.
possibility. It's a
Yes, you
possibility. I'm here for you. I'm here for you guys. I would do that.
That's right. I guess the point of that is again identifying what's important to you and your family,
Yeah.
and then also note that unless there's mechanical issues, all rides in Tomorrowland, all rides in Fantasyland open at 8:30 for guest resort guest rope drop.
Yes, only. Yep.
Now,
So,
if you want to talk, what do I recommend doing? My recommendation is that you rope drop Peter Pan. You will be able to get into that line, get through it very quickly. You'll get on and off that ride. You can walk right across the street and ride It's a Small World. And you've knocked out two rides before 9
right,
a.m. when the rest of the park opens for all guests.
right. So is that, I know that's your recommendation. Is that what you would do? Is that what Mike would do on his morning?
That is what Mike has done on his last couple of
Okay.
trips.
Okay.
And so we will go right over to Peter Pan, ride that. Like I said, go right across, ride It's a Small World. By the time we
Hmm.
get off of that, it's close to 9 a.m. There's
Yep.
a second rope drop at
Yep.
9 a.m. that gets you into Liberty Square, Frontierland, and Adventureland. So, in my experience for us, we've gotten off of that second ride. We've made it to the rope drop right underneath the tunnel there, if you will, and then we're going straight over to Haunted Mansion, and
Yep.
we're on that ride by 9:15. So
Right.
by 9:30, we've knocked out three of the rides that we want to do throughout the day.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do too. So I would say that would be my, route as well. And yeah, I would definitely just head right over to Haunted. There's you could like swing all the way to the back and go to Big Thunder and then work your way back up. But either or, if you're
Yeah,
passing it and it's a low wait time, just do it. Like,
absolutely.
that should be the motto too, just,
Yeah,
don't wait. It can
yeah.
always change on you.
That you're exactly right. Now, this is where strategy comes in, and this will get us to slowly drift over to the non-resort guest rope drop and
Right.
strategy. But at 9 a.m., the entire park is open for everybody, resort, non-resort guests. So those three lands, Liberty Square, Frontier, and Adventureland, open up. There's going to be a mass of people
Yep.
heading straight left from the castle into Adventureland, hitting Jungle Cruise, hitting Pirates, and then hitting Big Thunder Mountain. So that's why we always do Haunted first, because by the time, even if we went straight to Big Thunder, there's a flood of people coming
There
from the
right, there
left and
is.
center.
Okay, so switching over to the non-resort guests. So you are a non-resort guest, and this is where my favorite time of the day comes in, and my expertise and how many times I've done it. I would say park opens at 9 a.m. You've made it into the park 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30. I would say be there by 8:30 at the latest, on Main Street. Maybe to the turnstiles right at 8 o'clock. You have plenty, that gives you plenty of time to, have that crowd in front of you, get in, and then get to Main Street. You should have a little time to get Starbies. See, unlike Mike, I'm giving you that Starbies time. But no, 8:30, 8:45 even. I mean, we can address that there is a good morning show. And at 8:50, there's going to be an announcement in the park, and they're going to say, "Welcome to the Magic Kingdom, everyone. Make your way up to the castle and, come watch our good morning show." You can choose to do that and still be okay. It's not going to take away, it's not going to ruin your day by any means. But let's just say you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that stage show. You have decided that Jungle Cruise is the most important ride to you for the day. What you should do is just head over to the Adventureland Bridge, or walkway, and you'll see the sign and ask the cast members, "Is this where I rope drop to go to Jungle Cruise?" And they're going to say, "Yes, just come right over here." There's going to be a crowd of people, and you're going to just go get in with that crowd. If you're going to choose to rope drop Big Thunder or Haunted Mansion, you're going to go to the Liberty Square Bridge, walkway, and you're going to see a big group of people. It doesn't matter which one you choose, there's going to be a big group of people. So the sooner you can get there and be in that big group of people, the sooner you'll get to the ride. But it's even if you're at the back of the group, the back of the crowd, you're still in a very good position to get to the rides, get several rides taken care of, and avoid the crowds that are going to be in the park a couple hours from now. So don't think that when you see all of those people, and either way, either with resort guests or with non-resort guests, once you see those crowds, don't be deflated. Don't, be discouraged on what you think this is going to do to your day. You're in a great position.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. For me, as a non resort guest, I look at what are the most popular rides, and how can I combat the wait.
Right,
So we already mentioned Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Peter Pan. So
right.
as a non-resort guest, if I realize and understand, and hopefully from this you'll know that there is a population of people in that park that got to go to those two rides at 7 or at 8:30
Yeah,
as a part of guests, resort guest rope drop. Jungle Cruise is, in my mind, probably the next most popular
yeah,
longer wait time rides. Remember, resort guests have not been able to get to that part of the park at 8:30. So, as Janelle mentioned, you can watch the stage show at 8:55 and then head straight over to the Adventureland Bridge. Or if you don't want to watch the show, head over that way. And at 9 a.m. at Rope Drop, head straight to Jungle Cruise. Even if there's hundreds of people in front of you and it looks like it could be a wait, there's
yeah.
boat after boat after boat after boat stacked up waiting to load people on. It
Right.
will move pretty quickly. And you'll get right onto that ride very fast.
Well,
That
and
is probably the best way.
it's interesting to see how everybody scatters too. And so this massive crowd that you saw just disperses and everybody has their own agenda. So you're going to get there. A lot of people do go to Big Thunder. A lot of people do go to Haunted Mansion. So if I was rope dropping, I'll give you my recommendation, and my recommendation would be to go to Jungle, Pirates, Big Thunder, and Haunted, and you can knock out those 4 very big rides, within an hour, hour and a half, as long as you just keep the flow going. And then I would check out Fantasyland and see, "Oh, what does Peter Pan look like?" Because it might not even be that bad of a line by the time you make your way over there.
Yeah.
And you
And
can knock out an entire side of the park in
yes.
the 1 hour of being there. Hour,
Yeah.
hour and a half,
And I
and
was
it's
going to just mention
amazing.
that.
Yeah,
I liken it to, it's a Friday evening. You're going to go to a restaurant to have dinner. You get there and they tell you that the wait is 45 minutes. You don't want to wait. So you drive 15 minutes down the road to another restaurant. The wait's 30 minutes and you decide to wait.
right,
It was still
right.
45 minutes. It's, the idea of I'm going to go ride Big Thunder and then I'm going to walk over and do Buzz. Then I'm going to walk back and do Haunted Mansion. You have to factor that walking time into the wait time
Mhm.
for the rides and you might
Right,
not be benefiting yourself. So the
right,
idea of knocking out Jungle, Pirates, Big Thunder, Haunted, you've essentially wiped out the whole left side of the park just
right,
about
right.
in a couple of hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So that's what I like to do. I like to just take care of that, and then move on to the rest of the park, and make my way towards the rides through there and stuff. So
yeah,
I am with my going to the park all of the time. I have noticed that it takes about 2 hours. So if the park opened at 9, by 11 a.m., we're going to see like an influx of people. Like that's when those ride times start to creep up. So I say always you have about 2 hours, 2 hours to get the majority and to maximize your time there and get as many rides as possible.
that's right. You're exactly right. And we'll talk about a couple of the evening things, but you have, there's three, in my mind, three types of guests there.
Hmm.
There's the crazy ones like me that rope drop and stay till the park closes.
Okay.
They're the ones they're early birds, they're morning people, so they hit that, but they don't stay late. And they're those that like to sleep in. And that's the
Yeah.
one Janelle's saying by about 11 a.m. you're
Yeah.
starting to see the park get closer to max number of people in it because
Right.
the ones who don't like to get up early are at the park by then.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I always think about like how long does it take for people to get breakfast and travel over and all that. Well, By the time they get their group together, that's about the time, 2 hours.
Yep.
So, um, so then I would say you've done rope drop. You've had an amazing morning, and hopefully you've taken care of some of the top rides that you wanted to go in. Enjoy your day, and when the crowds do start to come, as we like to say, put your patient pants on, decide what's most important to you for the rest of the day, and just go with it. You have the rest of the day to get some things in, whether it's a really nice lunch or see some stage shows or grab shopping and, you know, do these little rides
Yep.
throughout the day.
That's right. Yeah. So Janelle made a comment about a couple hours to get breakfast and what have you. That's another thing to factor in as far as your rope dropping, especially for
Yeah.
resort guests. You're going to have a number of resort guests that they have dining reservations at Ohana or at Crystal Palace or
Yeah.
somewhere else at 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. They're not going to be there at rope drop because they'll be having dining. So
Yeah.
that's again trying to maximize your time and what you can accomplish in the parks. That rope drop is so important. Now,
Yeah.
Janelle also mentioned early on about walking through the Emporium and whether you should do that or not. My This is my feeling and how I think you go about maximizing your time in the park is that you bypass the shops when you first get there. If you're rope dropping at 8:30 or you're rope dropping at 9, if you get there early enough, you can get some great photos of you and your family in front of the
Yeah.
castle. A lot of people without many people there still get in line to rope drop. As far as the shops go, for me personally, I don't want to spend my park day time shopping. First off, again, this is about maximizing my time in the park. Secondly, I don't want to have to carry my packages all day long in the parks. This Now we're flipping the switch to the end of the day, but again, about maximizing time. People don't realize this, but if the park closes at 10 p.m.,
Hmm.
those shops are open at least 1 hour after that. So you can again get more out of your park day by saving your shopping till the very end of the night when the only thing that's left open are the shops.
Okay. I mean, and that's a very good point, and I like it. Um, so, since we are talking about crowds and shopping just at the moment, I do want to throw this in. You got there, you did your morning, hey, we're going to go back to the resort midday, but I want to grab something right, on our way out. Um, when not to go in there because it's so crowded is right after the fireworks or right after a parade. So if you know that any of this stuff is happening, hop in there, grab it because once these things happen on Main Street, the everybody goes into the crowd goes into the stores from Main Street. So by all means, hop in there if you're on your way out and grab whatever you want and get it and go. But I wouldn't wait around, especially if there's a parade or some sort of show on Main Street going on. So
Yep.
it'll get crowded. After fireworks, the Emporium is crowded. So I would go with Mike's suggestion on, yeah, waiting a little bit. If you're going to be there, just go ride a ride and then go back into the Emporium. It will be two different worlds, a whole new
Yes.
world.
And honestly, one of the best ways to get more ride time is after the fireworks are over.
Yeah,
There's mass exodus of people leaving the park, hitting the shops on Main Street as they're leaving the
right.
park. The ride lines are fairly short. And so, just give you an example, if the park closes at 10 p.m. tonight, the fireworks are at 8:30. So by 8:50, the
Yeah,
fireworks are done and over with. You've got a full hour to be able to get one, two, three rides
yeah,
done, depending on what rides they are. And depending
exactly.
on where you watch the fireworks from, you might be able to attack the rides even faster.
Right. So very good point. And then hit your shopping on the way out. And the nighttime can be just as lovely crowd wise as that rope drop. So you have two different times of the day. Just depends on when you get there and what type of person you are. I think it just depends on the type of person you are.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
yeah.
All right, so we have the general concept of rope drop, what it is, and the fact that it's 30 minutes earlier for resort guests versus non-resort guests. Let's jump over to
Hmm.
Epcot and talk about strategies for rope dropping with Epcot because that is a different animal than Magic Kingdom.
Yes, yes. And just not to scare everybody with the animal talk, but it's not Magic Kingdom. I would say is the more complex of all of it. Do would you say? And then it kind of gets easier for the rest of the parks.
Yeah, I think so. And part of that is because most people go to Magic Kingdom for their very first day. So if they're not in tune with what rope drop is, they learn quickly, that day, and then they can apply what they've learned to the other parks.
Okay,
I think the reason why I used animal for Epcot is the fact that Epcot has two different entry points
right,
for the
right.
park. So your strategy changes on what you might try to rope drop depending upon which entry point you're getting into Epcot.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's probably where we start first is those two entry points
Let
and who gets in to one versus the other.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So let's start with the original main front gate entrance of Epcot. If you are
Okay,
a non-resort guest, generally speaking, you will be entering through the front of the park.
okay,
If you are a resort guest that is staying at a non-Skyliner resort, I'll generalize that now, you will be entering from the front of the park. If you are a resort guest staying on the Skyliner, you'll enter from the back of the park. So, who are those folks? If you're staying at Pop Century, if you're staying at Art of Animation, if you're staying at the Caribbean Beach Resort, if you're staying at the Riviera, those are all on the Skyliner, and you will take the Skyliner and enter through the back of the park. If you're staying at the beach club, if you're staying at the yacht club, if you're staying at the boardwalk, those all sit on the back side of Epcot. You will walk to the entry point of the back of the park, which is walking you into the World Showcase. As you enter there, you'll have France on your left and you'll have the UK on your right. So let's
okay,
start there. I'm a Skyliner resort guest, or I've walked over from one of those resorts. I'm entering from the back of the park. That changes in my mind what I'm rope dropping versus
okay,
if I'm entering at the front of the park. Okay, so Epcot opens at 9 a.m. That means resort guests 8:30 a.m. entry. Non-resort guests, you can get there, but your rope drop time is 9 a.m.
yep,
All right. So we're
okay.
walking in from the back of the park. Janelle, what are you rope dropping
Okay, well, first,
as a resort guest?
I have a question though. What
Okay.
time do I need to be there? Like,
All
is
right.
it like Magic Kingdom? Do I need to be there super early or do I need to be there just 15 minutes early?
So that's a great question, and I'll tell you from my experience of what
Okay.
we've. So this is from a resort guest perspective. Park opens at 9. Rope drop for resort guests are at 8:30.
Uh-huh.
Past three times that we've been there, we get there at 8 a.m. First
Okay.
off, the lines to the Skyliner will be long first thing in the morning, so plan accordingly. You should be in line for that Skyliner no later than 7:30 and probably closer to 7:15, so that you can get into
Okay.
the side of Epcot early. Our
Okay.
last three trips, rope drop was at 8:30. They let resort guests in before 8:30.
Okay.
What and I don't mean a couple minutes before.
I know. Yeah.
We badged in. We went to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which is in France, right there. We were on the ride, off the ride, and it was still not 8:30 yet.
Okay.
So that's why we always arrive early. Is it guaranteed that they'll let you in before 8:30 a.m.?
Right.
No. But
No.
if they do, and you show up right at 8:30, you're going to be behind the eight ball as far as that goes. So for my
So yeah,
experiences,
okay, go ahead. Go
I said
ahead.
from my experiences, that's what we did. We rope dropped Remy as resort guests at 8:30. We were on and off the ride before 8:30, and we were headed to the next
Okay.
most popular ride, which is Frozen, and we were on and off that before non-resort guests opening at 9 a.m.
Okay. So I think, just 8 o'clock, you give your time, 8:15, and then again, you could be risking that you're not getting these extra minutes that they're giving you. But at the end of the day, if it's 8:30. You don't have to be there too terribly long. There's no main street for you to go on. Nothing extra special like that is happening.
That's
So, okay.
that's
So I get in, I badge in, and yeah, I think when I'm back there, I'm gonna go straight to Remy. I mean, you're right there, so don't pass it up. Like, the saying, yeah, don't pass it. And then I think, I don't know. Well, because of the popularity of Frozen, I get why we would go straight to Frozen, but I might go. I don't know. Can you go anywhere in Epcot? Is it like Magic Kingdom where a section is shut off, or can you go anywhere you want in Epcot?
You can walk anywhere in Epcot at that point in time. Now, a lot of the World Showcase is not open
Right.
at 8:30, 8:45 a.m., but you can make that loop around
But
if you
every
choose.
ride is open. So yeah,
Yes.
if I don't want to go to Frozen because I don't have littles or I don't want to ride the ride, I might go to Test Track. I think that might be where I'm headed. And go knock that one out. And then maybe if I can come back to Frozen, I can, but that's a lot walking back and forth. But yep, that's probably what I would do. So, all right. So now what are we going to go to? Regular resort guests, or we're going to go to the front of the park as a resort guest and we're going
Yes.
to rope drop from the front of the park, which so if I took the monorail or a bus or for some reason wanted to drive my own car, um, you're going to come from the front of the park.
Yep.
When you come into the park, you're going to badge in. Um, Everybody gets to get into the front little section of Epcot. You badge in and you're led into this little area. Resort guests are going to go to the right, and again, there's going to be somebody holding the sign. A cast member will be holding the sign, and it's going to say, "Resort guests this way." Everybody else is going to go kind of straight and around the fountain, and that's where you're going to see a mass number of people there. So we go in. It's 8:30. We badge in. You're in. Where are you going?
So for me as a resort guest coming through the front, again, I'm focused on maximizing my time and knowing
Okay.
that Remy and Frozen and Test Track are the longest wait times throughout the day on average, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So knowing that there's a mass populace of people coming in through the back of the park, Remy is not where I'm going. I'm going to go to
Okay.
either Test Track or to Frozen as a
Right.
resort guest and get one of those two really popular rides knocked out.
Right. Yeah, I would say I'm going to Test Track. That's where, and from watching and being there, I mean, the majority of people go straight, like they're going back that direction. Hardly anybody goes over to the right, like towards the land. But again, I could see rope dropping Soren if that's a top priority for you. Soren would be then my next. I would go that direction.
Yeah. So as you're walking, let's assume you're going to do Test Track. So you're
Hmm.
coming from the front of the park, you're walking in the general direction, which is going to get you to Test Track or to Frozen, right? You're heading in
Right.
the same general
Right.
direction. Listen to see, are you hearing the car go? It's
Yeah.
possible that Test Track
Right,
goes
it's an
down
open.
at different times.
Right,
The mechanical issues. So if you're not hearing those cars whizzing around, I would probably just keep on going to Norway to
frozen.
do the Frozen ride.
Yeah.
I
That's a
rest.
good point. And always check the My Disney Experience app because there are many occasions where, you might have something stuck. This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. And you need to look at that app and make sure that there is a little dot, there and it's not showing that it's, temporarily down. So
Right.
again, trying to maximize your time, thinking ahead and checking before you take the time to walk. And again, it's not horrible. You are walking in a certain direction.
That's right. Now, one thing that I would highly recommend not doing, it's tempting. You're coming in through the front of the park. Don't get caught up by saying, oh, there's no wait for Spaceship Earth, the big golf ball ride. That ride does not have long waits. So don't get yourself caught up thinking we'll just knock that one out real quick because there's no wait. Well, everybody else is getting in line for the popular rides, and your wait just got doubled on those. Yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah,
Um, okay, so now we're to right. So I will let you know, just like Mike, they always let you in a little bit early. Not all the time. It's not a guarantee, but 8:55 or so, you're going to be let into the park. I love that Epcot does that. And again, I think when I was just there, they didn't do it, and I was like, what's going on? Why it's 8:55? They didn't let us in, but they usually let you in a few minutes early, so it behooves you to be there right. 10 minutes before 9 to be there and get in. Again, you just walk in. Um, I don't know what time they start letting you badge in. I would assume an hour. I don't know. So if the park opens at 9, resort guests get in at 8:30. So I would assume that maybe you can badge in at 8,
yeah, I think so.
to get into that front area and just sit there. You're not going to be able to go to Starbucks. You're not going to be able to go to a gift shop. You're just going to go and sit there and be ready to go.
Mhm.
Um, I am gonna, where am I gonna go? I'm I'm gonna look at my app and I'm gonna look and see which one of those popular rides it doesn't have the biggest wait time, but I might go to Test Track, or I might decide I should just take that walk to Remy. This is probably going to be the lowest wait time at this point in the day, and if it's really important to you, I might just head on back there if you don't have Genie Plus, or So, but
Right.
yeah, probably either going to go Test Track, Frozen, or Remy. Still stick with those top three in Epcot.
Yeah, that does again maximizing your time and depending
Yeah,
upon what you want to get out of your entire park day. That's probably the path I would take. Now, I would alter that slightly if you don't have an interest in watching the 9 p.m. Illumination show. People will start to accumulate around World Showcase 30 to 60 minutes before that show,
yeah,
which means some of the popular rides might not have quite as long of a wait time. So
right,
if you don't have interest in seeing the fireworks show there, um, you could save Remy and hit that at a quarter to 9, for instance, get in that line.
right.
And so
Okay,
if that's a strategy you would take, then for me as a non-resort guest walking in the front, the question is, do I want to rope drop test track and know that there's going to be a decent line there because of all of the resort guests that are lined
right.
up? Or do I want to go probably rope drop Soren? I could probably knock out Soren, Living with the Land, Nemo, and Figgy
Figment, yeah.
all within an hour and a half, I bet.
I wonder, you can. That's generally when I'm doing my stream. That's general. We go that way. We go towards the land. I love Soren though, so that's why I picked to go on that direction. Um, so yeah, so that's Epcot. I
Yep.
think we covered Epcot. So where are we going to go next? Hollywood or
Let's
Animal? Which
let's head to,
animal do you want?
let's head to Hollywood Studios next.
Okay, so Hollywood Studios. Oh, we have nothing special here.
Right? So we'll
We
say
have,
park opens at 9 a.m.
yep,
So for
yep.
resort guests, your rope drop time is 30 minutes
It's
early, 8:30.
8:30. So the one thing I will say about Hollywood is I think that this is a park where you need to get there a little bit early. It's a very small area in the front, and so there crowds tend to gather, and it's just because of that you need to give yourself a little extra time. um, Resort guests are going to be let in at 8:30, and there's going to be a cast member over to I mean, it's technically to the left of the building, and you're gonna kind of go around and in between from where you do your security check, and then all the other guests are gonna be in this massive crowd ahead of you, and you're gonna go around. And so what we're gonna badge in. I don't think there's any extra time here. Like they do things by the exact times at Hollywood Studios, and it's 8:30. You get through the little line, you've badged in, you're on Hollywood Boulevard. Where are you going?
Yeah, at this point, it's a strategy selection of, do I want to do Rise of the Resistance? Do I want
Okay.
to do, or do I want to do Slinky Dog Dash? Those are probably, those to me would be the two most popular that I'd want to consider for rope drop. The third would probably be Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in the Chinese theme.
Okay. Okay.
So one of those three is probably where I'm heading. For me personally, it's also dependent on if I get there early enough where I can be up towards the very front of the rope dropping line. I'm heading to Rise of the Resistance. That for
Okay.
me,
Yeah.
that would be my must do rope drop ride. That's a ride that I have to do whether I have to wait in line or not.
Yeah.
Slinky Dog Dash is a popular roller coaster ride. It's very cute. It's not a ride that I'm willing to stand in line for very long.
Hmm.
It's not that worth it to me. So
Right.
I'm not necessarily rope dropping Slinky Dog for that reason. So Rise would probably be my preference.
Yep.
But it's either Rise, Slinky, or um, Mickey's Railway. Those are the three most
Yeah.
popular rides that get the longest wait times. I I tend to say Rise simply because it goes down throughout the day for mechanical issues.
Right.
So if it's running when you first get there, get on it, enjoy it, and then move on with your park day.
Okay. I agree. I 100% agree. Look at us agreeing.
Now,
Okay. Go ahead.
so we're a non-resort guest.
Yep. So you're in this really big, long line of people because it's long. Again, there's not a lot of room. 9 p.m. happens, and you slowly make your way through this line. I would say that it takes anywhere from um, 5 to 10 minutes to get through that and actually get badged in. Maybe 5 minutes. Don't get discouraged. I mean, you have to get through anyway, so you might as well pick one of the lines and get through it. And but you'll be on Hollywood Boulevard anywhere from 9:05 to 9:10. And it's super simple. Again, one entry, that's it. Um, where are you gonna go? It's now 9 o'clock. You know, Rise has a line, you know, Slinky has a line. I will tell you what I do. I usually go straight to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway. Uh, they has the least amount. There's not that big of a line. But I still think it's safe to go to Rise of the Resistance if that is your number one. If that's your number one, that's where you should go. You should knock it out. And I agree, it's because it goes out down throughout the day and you just don't know what can happen.
That's right. Now, again, I mentioned this with Epcot. If you wanted to skip the nighttime show, Hollywood Studios sometimes has two nighttime shows. It's the same show,
Yes.
but they offer them twice. So if you're a late night person like I am, I do early and late. I'm going to watch the second showing of Fantasmic. There's thousands of people that go watch that first showing of Fantasmic, which means there are
Yeah.
thousands of people not in line for Rise or Slinky or Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. So
Yep.
I would capitalize on the shorter wait times for those popular rides during the first showing of Fantasmic, which allows me
Right.
to again maximize my time. One rope drop strategy, especially for non-resort guests, that I don't think many people ever consider
Okay.
is go straight right. You can ride Tower of Terror. And when Rock and Roller Coaster reopens, you can ride both of those with hardly
Sure.
any wait. Many people do not think to go that direction in the morning. It's it's almost like if you were watching the Boston Marathon and the New York City Marathon at the same time, and you heard the starter go off. You have a mass of people running straight towards Toy Story Land for Slinky,
Yeah.
and you have a bunch of people running straight towards Galaxy's Edge for Rise. You don't
Right.
see a horde of people taking the hard right and head towards Tower of Terror or Rock and Roller Coaster.
In my mind, all I'm like, that's just like you've just told everybody they should just go ride the teacups. Who's
Yeah.
doing that? No, I'm joking, but I agree. And I think that right now, because we're talking in a time where Rock and Roller Coaster is under refurbishment, that that's just not the go-to. Like, we can come back to that. You're not going to get a lot out of your time going in that direction. But when it is there, it's a great strategy, and the crowds don't go that way.
That's right.
So, okay, so that's Hollywood.
Let's
And now we're on to the real Animal Kingdom. Okay, so it's park open at 9 o'clock. Resort guests are at 8:30. Again, one entrance. Doesn't take a lot to, get through. Probably be there 8:15ish. Get in the line. You want to be one of the first to get through, badge in. When you go through as a resort guest, you badge in. You're going to your left. There's two paths around Animal Kingdom, and resort guests always go to the left. Um, I'm in. I see the tree of life in front of me. Where are you going, Mike? Are you going to go right towards Dino Land, or are you going left towards Pandora? Which way are you going?
Well, so I'm going left. And
Okay.
from my perspective, there are three rides that are the most popular rides:
Okay.
Flight of Passage, Kilimanjaro Safaris, and Expedition Everest.
Okay.
So I'm heading straight left and I'm going straight to Flight of Passage. As a resort guest, I'm going to maximize that 30 minutes. I will get in that line. And we've done this as a family before, and it looks like we're an hour back in the line.
It
But
does.
you have to remember, there's a long queue that flows through to
Yeah.
get to the entrance of the ride itself. That line moves very quickly. Keep in mind that the safari ride doesn't typically open right away. It opens a little bit later,
Yeah.
maybe 30 minutes to an hour later than the rope drop time. So you wouldn't head there anyway. Everest, popular ride, but the wait times there typically aren't anything like Flight of Passage throughout the day on average, first off. Secondly, Expedition Everest does have a single rider line, which can help you get on the ride much faster. So for me and getting what I can out of rope drop, we're heading to Flight of Passage.
Yep. I agree with that. I'm doing the same, and then I'm going to go to Navi, and
Yes.
then I'm going to head over to Safari. So,
Yes, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
um, okay, so resort guests, you've knocked this out. It's now 9 p.m. and it's when the non-resort guests can come in. As a non-resort guest, I say you're going to get there. There's going to be the long line. You do get let into Animal Kingdom at the 8 a.m. Just like everybody else, resort guests and non-resort guests get in at the same time. Resort guests are going to go to the left. Non-resort guests are going to go to the right, and you're just going to go there and wait, just like we did at Epcot and just like we did at Hollywood Studios. You're just going to wait, and once it is 9 a.m., they're going to let you in. You go, you see the tree of life. Which way are you going, Mike?
As a non-resort guest, knowing that
Yep,
thousands of people ahead of me are in line for Flight of Passage,
yep.
I am either going to rope drop Kilimanjaro Safaris
Mm-hmm.
or I'm going to go head to Everest. and it's probably
Okay.
the safari is what I'm doing first.
Okay. So I agree with that. But what I would do is if Navi over in Pandora is important to you, usually it's not because everybody's still at Avatar, the at Flight of Passage. Navi sometimes could have a low wait time. So I might check Navi and then go to Safari. But if Navi is already kind of high, I'm going to avoid that and I'm just going to go towards the Safari and beat that line.
Yep, it's great, great
So
tip. Absolutely.
so
All
but
right.
yeah, I think and then I'm going to go ahead to Triceratops spins cuz
Yes, the Animal Kingdom version of teacups.
yes. I know. I didn't even mention aliens, rolling saucers in Hollywood, but well, that's another podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's kind of wrap up rope drop here and some of the notes that I
Okay.
had scribbled down. Again, we're talking about maximizing our time in the park and getting the most out of
Right.
rope drop, whether you're a resort guest or a non-resort guest. So for resort guests, be the first on the bus, the boat, the skyline, or monorail. If you're hundreds or thousands of people in line for the mode of transportation, you're going to be even further behind the line once you get to the park itself.
Right.
I mentioned this early on. Most quick service restaurants open at 7 a.m. at the resort, so plan ahead. Enter the park as early as possible. Look for cast members with the signs for the resort guests. Badge in, line up for the part of the park you want. And we mentioned this earlier. Expect possible earlier entry than 30 minutes. It
Yes.
happens. You don't want to miss out.
No.
Any other last thoughts you have for rope drop?
No.
All
No.
right.
Everybody should do it.
Yes. And that's a great segue to the next thing.
Yes.
Everybody should do it. So we started with rope drop because it's available to all
Everyone.
park goers, resort guests, non-resort guests.
Yeah.
Our next topic is extended evening hours. And this topic is solely for those guests that are staying at a Disney Deluxe or
Okay.
Deluxe Villa resort. So
Okay.
a smaller population of folks. This Disney has announced they're extending the extended evening hour benefit to deluxe resort guests through the 2025 calendar year. So if
Nice.
you're
Okay.
planning a trip later on this year or next year and you're staying at a deluxe resort, this is a benefit that you will be able to take advantage of. You
Okay.
can enjoy extended evening hours on select nights in select parks. Again, if you're a deluxe resort or deluxe villa resort guest. And what I can tell you is what's available today on the My Disney Experience app for the extended evening hours. And that is Mondays at Epcot from 9 p.m. until 11 p.m. So you're getting two
Okay.
extra hours as a deluxe resort guest to enjoy the rides.
Okay.
Wednesdays, every Wednesday at Magic Kingdom from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. Again, 2 extra hours you're getting as a deluxe resort guest
Okay.
to enjoy the rides. Now, you may ask, well, how does a non deluxe resort guest not get to enjoy that? And when you're badging in for the ride, if you're not tied to a deluxe resort or deluxe villa resort reservation in My Disney Experience app, you're not going to get that pretty little green in the chime. Uh,
Right.
you're going to get a red or orange or yellow.
Blue. It's blue. It's blue.
Okay, yeah,
It's
and
blue.
probably a bunch of cast members that are then guiding you towards the front of the park to exit the park. So they do
Right.
make sure that this benefit is only given to deluxe resort guests.
Okay.
Now, having it be Epcot on Mondays and Magic Kingdom on Wednesdays, one additional benefit for deluxe resort guests that are enjoying these extra hours at 6 p.m. Eastern, a third virtual queue window opens up for Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot and Tron at Magic Kingdom. So for all guests at 7 a.m., that virtual queue opens up for those two rides, depending upon which park you're going to. At 1 p.m., depending on which park you're in, another virtual queue window opens to try to get a ride time slot. And then for deluxe guest enjoying the extended evening hours, a third
Okay.
6 p.m. virtual queue window opens up.
Okay.
Important to note.
Yes. I like that. I don't know that, I wonder how quickly it goes through the queue, and we won't get into that, but versus just go standing in line. But then I'm glad that they don't make you stand in the line for the whole 2 hours, so,
Right.
and you
That's
get to do the virtual queue. So, okay. So is that all with the extended evening hours?
Yeah, that pretty much covers it. Again, you're getting 2 extra hours in either
Okay.
Epcot once per week or Magic Kingdom once per week if you're staying at a deluxe resort or deluxe villa resort.
Okay. I mean, I like it. Might sway me, if I'm deciding between a couple of resorts to stay at, might sway me one way or the other.
Absolutely. And when you think about it, Epcot, Magic Kingdom are the two parks that most deluxe resorts are closest to.
Yeah,
So
that's
you get the
true.
added advantage of transportation to and from those resorts to one of those two parks at the end of the night when it's 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point, it's just deluxe resort guests that are left. You're not going to have long lines waiting to get on the monorail or
Right.
on the boats or what have you.
True. True.
All right.
Okay, so now that gives us Disney after hours.
Yeah. So Disney After Hours is a separated ticketed event open
Okay.
to everybody, whether you're a resort guest or a non resort guest, it's irrelevant. You're essentially purchasing a park ticket for an after hours event at one of the parks. And I'll talk about that here in just a moment. So, some people might say, well, good gravy, I'm paying to be in the park all day long. Why would I want to pay to be in the park for extra hours in the evening after?
Right.
And my answer to that would be that your best bet is to not purchase a park ticket for the day,
Mhm.
spend a little bit less money on a ticket for the extra evening hours or the after hours,
Yeah.
because they sell very few of those tickets. The wait times are virtually none on everything. And I'll talk about that
Wow.
in a second. So, again, it's
Okay.
open to everybody. They limit the number of tickets, it's on select nights. Currently, if you were to go out to the Disney website and look, these are the prices for the different after hour ticketed events through the parks. At Hollywood Studios, it's $145 per person. It's
Okay.
adult or child.
Okay.
At Magic Kingdom, it's 165 per person, adult or child. At Epcot, it's 149 per person, again, adult or child.
Okay.
The fourth one, not Animal Kingdom, they don't offer after hours events there. They've got to get the animals taken care of and what have you. It's actually a Typhoon Lagoon. They have an H2O Glow after hours
Yes.
event. That one is $75 for kids, $85 for adults.
Okay.
So, what you're getting by spending 145 to 165, depending upon which park, is 3 hours after the park is closed. Everybody else is shepherded out. Um, it's only for those that have purchased that ticket. You're going to have it on your Magic Band. You're going to have it on your card, your phone, your
Yep.
iPhone. Um, you get 3 hours, and there's virtually no wait times. There's also no
Yeah.
virtual queue. So if you want to ride Tron, if you're at Magic Kingdom, if
Uh,
you're at Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot, it's just standby line. And from all accounts that I've seen of people that have been
yeah.
there and experienced, they're riding Tron or Guardians once, twice, three,
Yeah.
4 times in that period of time. There's no Genie Plus. There's no individual Lightning Lane purchases. The wait times are non-existent. From all accounts, you're waiting less than 10 minutes, and in most cases, it's a
Wow.
walk-on on most rides. So, is it worth it? Well, I probably get all rides knocked out in any of those parks in 3 hours for a little bit less than what I would spend for a day pass to those parks.
Right.
Before I get to the next part of the benefits, just that alone, virtually no wait times. I think if you've ever been there, whichever of those parks, Epcot, Magic, Hollywood, the vibe at night is just different than during the day.
Yes.
You're getting to enjoy and experience that. Um, Fewer people, which means you're not shoulder to shoulder bumping people up and down walkways, which is great. And you can really just consume the park experience because you're not rushing from thing to thing to thing waiting in
Right.
line. Very
Yeah.
helpful. Now, the other things that are included with your admission for the Disney After Hours: free popcorn throughout the
Yes.
free ice cream novelties for your 3 hours. You can eat your way through however many Mickey ice cream sandwiches you want in 3 hours. And then they have free select beverages as well,
Okay.
primarily soda and probably lemonade, that sort of thing. So you're getting snacks and drinks while you're enjoying little to no wait time for that.
Right.
So if you plan a Disney trip and you were going to bake in a rest day, for instance, a non-park day, that might be the great way to have that relaxing daytime, enjoy the pool, go to Disney Springs, resort hop, whatever you want to do throughout your day, and then
Right.
maximize 3 hours of time at the end of the night on one of the Disney after hour events.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you were going to mention it, but you also get extra fireworks at Magic Kingdom.
That's exactly right. And not only extra, but different
Yes.
than the normal show,
Different.
right?
Right. So you get to see a whole new fireworks show, enchantment, that nobody else gets to see. So that's to me extra special as well. Um, if you loved enchantment or just like fireworks in general. So
That's exactly right. Yes. There's the benefits, in my opinion, outweigh the price tag
I
by
agree.
far. By far.
I agree.
Yes. All right. So rope drop, extended evening hours, Disney after hours events, those are all, ways to strategize and help combat the crowd levels that you see at the parks. And again, maximizing your time and your family's time to get the most out of the parks. And I
Right.
know we talk about this on occasion, but what gets lost so often with people is, what is my time worth?
Right.
Right? They easily see how much it costs to stay at the resort, how much it costs for the tickets to get into the parks, but they lose sight of, what is my time worth? And if I can maximize my time, my
Yeah.
investment that I'm making is all the better.
I agree. I agree. And it takes so much money to get there and time to get there that hopefully these tips and these episodes that we've done have helped you get to where you need to be, get what you want out of your vacation, and give you that time with your family that you've, paid so much and spent so much of your time trying to get. So,
Absolutely.
all right. So I think this wraps up our crowd subject. I
Yes.
think we're done, and hopefully you know how to avoid avoid the crowds at Disney. We wish you all the luck. Mike's like, what? Of course they're gonna avoid the crowds.
Absolutely. Now,
So
you look, you plan for the parks to be busy. We talked about
yeah,
that in
yeah,
previous segments. If you plan for the parks to be busy, and you utilize some of these strategies, you can help yourself in the long run. And if you show
right.
up on a day and the park's not busy, it's a win-win for you.
Bonus, 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 bonus.
That's right. All right, I think
So
that does wrap up then, put a bow on crowds and how to manage
yeah,
crowds at the Disney parks.
yeah. And if you ever want to leave a comment or let us know, please reach out. Let us know that we helped you or didn't help you and how we can do better. But send that to Mike, not to me. Thank you, everybody, for being here, listening, watching, however you're taking this in. I am Disney Parks with Love on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Please give me a follow. And again, I love messages and love for you to reach out in any way. And Mike, would you like to say
Yeah,
goodbye to
you,
everyone?
you can catch me on those same platforms as Mike underscore Disney Travel. Would love to help you. Love to work with you and your family on your next Disney trip.
All right. Always fun. Thank you for your time, Mike, and we will do this again.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Janelle. Goodbye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye.